Hi, my name is Amber Richards, and I am here to present to you the poetry form of the Kyrielle. The following Kyrielle is considered to be the quintessential Kyrielle. It was written by Thomas Campion. He lived from 1567 to 1620 and was English. And he also played the lute and put this Kyrielle to music, as was common. A Lenten Hymn by Thomas Campion. With broken heart and contrite sigh, a trembling sinner, Lord, I cry. Thy pardoning grace is rich and free. O God, be merciful to me. I smite upon my troubled breast, with deep and conscious guilt oppress. Christ and his cross my only plea. O God, be merciful to me. Far off I stand with tearful eyes, nor dare uplift them to the skies. But thou dost all my anguish see. O God, be merciful to me. Nor alms nor deeds that I have done can for a single sin atone. To Calvary alone I flee. O God, be merciful to me. And when redeemed from sin and hell, with all the ransomed throng I dwell, my raptured song shall ever be, God has been merciful to me. This next Kyrielle is a poem for children by Theodore Roethke. He lived from 1908 to 1963 and was American. Dinky by Theodore Roethke. Oh, what's the weather in a beard? It's windy there and rather weird. And when you think the sky has cleared, why, there is dirty Dinky. I suppose you walk out in a storm, with nothing on to keep you warm, and then step barefoot on a worm. Of course, it's dirty Dinky. As I was crossing a hot, hot plain, I saw a sight that caused me pain. You asked me before, I'll tell you again. It looked like dirty Dinky. Last night you lay a-sleeping. No, the room was 35 below. The sheets and blankets turned to snow. He'd got in, dirty Dinky. You'd better watch the things you do. You'd better watch the things you do. You're part of him. He's part of you. You may be dirty Dinky. So, a few requirements for the Kyrielle form. One is 8-syllable lines, so octosyllabic. It's often in iambic tetrameter when written in English. The quatrains, it's written in quatrains with a rhyme scheme and a refrain as the last line of each. Though one source asserts it may be written in couplets, like quatrain couplets. And the refrain is traditionally a variation of Lord, have mercy on me. So, for a Lenten hymn, the Kyrielle attributes of this sample poem, it has the traditional refrain, O God, be merciful to me. It has 5 quatrains, and one source said multiples of 3 to represent the Trinity, and I'll get to that in this poem in a second. It is iambic tetrameter, but you'll notice line 7, which is Christ and his cross, my only plea. It begins with a trochee. And line 14 is the same. Can for a single sin atone. So it's interesting to me that the substitutions are symmetrically located within the poem at 7 and 14. And so that kind of divides it into 3 for a trinity rather than the quatrains dividing it. You'll also notice the rhyme scheme within the quatrains. A, B, B, etc. Okay, for Dinky, the children's nonsense poem, there are 5 quatrains. The refrain is really 2 words, dirty dinky, and it does not rhyme with the other lines. You'll notice the refrain doesn't. So the other 3 lines of each quatrain rhyme with each other. Most occurrences of the refrain are iambic trimeter, and all other lines are iambic tetrameter. So the Kyrielle derives from a liturgical song or prayer called the Kyrie, and that asks for mercy and divine grace. It is originally French, so that's why it's octosyllabic and not necessarily iambic tetrameter, since French is a Romance language. But as I mentioned earlier, in English, it's generally iambic tetrameter. And it originated as a poetic form in the 15th century, and it was sung by troubadours. So it truly is a musical poetic form. It was extremely challenging to find sources for this form because it seems to be somewhat forgotten. Okay. All right, so I went ahead and wrote my own Kyrielle, and it is the Kyrielle for peace. Upon the tarot card I draw, writhe worms cut up in cruelty. The 9 of Swords appears again. May all beings be happy and free. At times when war and hate mock hope, and phyla dwindle land and sea, a few in power dictate all lives. May all beings be happy and free. Alone I sit, the morning light shines wisdom on reality. My voice rings out for peace, I chant, may all beings be happy and free. Ideals no more, let love take hold and understand humanity. Will reach the oneness that is told when all beings are happy and free. So you'll see I do have a refrain. It is the English translation of a Sanskrit chant for universal peace. So I wanted to reference a similar idea to the Lord Have Mercy traditional refrain with an ancient spiritual tradition, and the wish for universal peace seemed appropriate to the topic as well as current times. The refrain is not iambic tetrameter, so in this way I veered a bit from the set form, but I had to, translate the Sanskrit accurately, and I thought that this was the best version I could come up with to fit the form. So I did make sure that the refrain ended with a syllable that would be easy to rhyme with. And it became an ekphrastic because I kept thinking of this tarot card, the 9 of Swords, from the Wild Unknown Tarot deck. It's actually my least favorite card of all time. But an ekphrastic is a separate thing. It's not necessarily, anything to do with Kyrielle. For the rhyme scheme, I used A, B, C, B, rhyming the second line of each quatrain with the refrain. I didn't plan the rhyming words in advance, but I did have an idea to emphasize the big ideas with rhyme, such as cruelty, reality, and humanity. And I did make lists of words that rhymed with it and kind of highlighted the ones I liked the best and then went from there. I like it when refrains have different shades of meaning each time they appear. So in the first quatrain, the refrain is referring to the cut up worms. In the second quatrain, it's referring to all animals. In the third, it's the physical incantation of the chant. And in the fourth, there is a slight change to the refrain to get to the overarching point of the poem. For the assignment, you can write your own Kyrielle. I will tell you, it came together much more easily than I thought it was going to. But I did put a lot of thought and planning into it because I had time to do so. So keeping with the tradition of the Kyrielle form, you can write a spiritual poem of any spiritual tradition in the form of a Kyrielle. Or your Kyrielle can be anti-spiritual. You may use the Library of Congress photograph provided on right here on the slide to make it an ekphrastic, or choose an image of your own if you wish. You need to remember to write a refrain, and I would suggest doing that first. Use iambic tetrameter. Iambic tetrameter, so 4 feet in each line. And there need to be 2 or more quatrains because it's not a refrain if there's only 1 quatrain. So there needs to be at least 2. And choose a rhyme scheme. And I posted the assignment sheet as requested. So if you have any questions, if you choose to write a Kyrielle and you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me via email. And I'll leave you with one musical rendition of this Kyrielle by St. Patrick Presbyterian Church. It's searchable on most streaming services by the first line of the poem, and I've provided the poem slide in case you want to karaoke.